They promised revenge, delivered shame. The Boston Celtics were crushed, humiliated, and sent packing by the Knicks in a defeat that will echo for years. And the worst part? Tatum is out. The roster is about to collapse, and Brad Stevens has to choose. Blow it all up or try the impossible. What's happening behind the scenes is way bigger than you think, and it's going to impact the future of the entire NBA. This video is for the real hoop heads, the ones who live and breathe basketball and want to understand what's about to explode in Boston. But beware, time is short, and the decisions are irreversible. How does a championship team fall apart so fast? Everything looked under control. The same 2024 title-winning roster, a fine-tuned system, rotation depth, elite defense. And then came the collapse. Jayson Tatum tore his Achilles tendon. The Celtics showed a spark in Game 5, but the 119-81 blowout in Game 6 was a surrender letter. That wasn't just a loss, it was a historic embarrassment. And here's the thing, even before the injury, the cracks were already showing. Against the Knicks, they gave away 3 games that were practically won, including 2 with 20-point leads. The old ghost of not being clutch returned. And if that was a problem with Tatum on the floor, imagine without him. But now comes the real bombshell. Is Brad Stevens going to blow up this roster? He doesn't have much of a choice. The second apron, the NBA's new luxury tax death trap, is forcing Boston to reshuffle its pieces. And if you're going to pay big, it better be worth a ring. This roster didn't deliver. They didn't even get past the New York Knicks. Now the names are under the spotlight. Porzingis, Holiday, Hauser, all rumored to be on the trade block. Sam Hauser, replaceable. Holiday, Pritchard can step up. But Porzingis, that's the real headache. Always hurt, on a heavy contract, and the market doesn't trust him. And with Horford and Cornet hitting free agency, Boston could lose nearly its entire front court rotation. In other words, the house is about to collapse. Fast, but there's an even heavier decision on the table. Is it worth fighting for 2026 without Tatum? Here's the hard truth. Jayson Tatum might not play next season, and without him, Boston is not a contender. The front office has a choice to make. Try to stay competitive or pull back and reorganize. Everything for 2026-27. It's a brutal crossroads. Staying competitive means exposing yourself to financial penalties, sacrificing the future, and doubling down on a roster that already fell short. But going through a transition takes guts, deep cuts, and accepting that a title might take a while. Who in Boston is ready for that? Not many. And that's the drama. Fans don't want a rebuild, they want revenge. But sometimes you have to. Tear it down to start over. And there's one key piece that could change everything. Should Jaylen Brown be traded? Take a breath. But yes, that conversation has already started. With Tatum out, Jaylen becomes the face of the franchise. He's the new pillar or the next trade chip. His max contract is a heavy load, and while he had a solid season, many still question if he can lead a team on his own. And more, does Brad Stevens trust him enough to build everything around him? Or would he rather reset the franchise, stockpile assets, and kick off a new cycle? If Brown stays, the pressure will be brutal. But if he's traded, it could signal the start of a full-blown rebuild. Can the fanbase handle that? And in the middle of this storm, a forgotten name might rise again. Who's the next face of the Celtics? Peyton Pritchard proved his worth. Baylor Shireman surprised. But none of them seem ready to take the throne. Boston could target a new name via draft, trade, or free agency. And that's when the rumors begin. Trae Young, Brandon Ingram, Zach LaVine. Stevens has already shown he likes bold moves. Porzingis and Holiday came through unexpected trades. Expect more of the same now. Because one thing's for sure, the Celtics won't just tweak the roster. They're about to shake the NBA. And whoever's not paying attention might miss the biggest reboot in years. The Celtics era, as we knew it, is over. The only question now is, what rises from the ashes? In the coming days, every rumor could become a bombshell. And in the next video, we'll break down the potential trades that could redefine Boston and shake up the entire Eastern Conference. If you thought the drama was over, you're dead wrong. The saga is just beginning. Now, tell me, would you keep this roster or blow it all up? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Even before Jayson Tatum's Achilles tear sent shockwaves through the league, the Boston Celtics were already standing on a financial cliff. Now, with their franchise cornerstone likely to miss most, if not all of the 2025-26 season, the franchise isn't just bracing for change. It may be staring down the barrel of a full-scale reset. According to Jay King of The Athletic, Boston was already preparing for significant off-season changes, thanks to a projected payroll and luxury tax total that could eclipse a staggering $500 million. That's not a typo. $500 million. The Tatum injury? It may just be the catalyst for a financial and roster earthquake. This isn't just about trimming the edges. This is about dismantling parts of a championship core before it becomes a luxury tax death sentence. Drew Holiday, a respected veteran NBA champion and defensive savant, might be the first domino to fall. Despite battling injuries and an undeniable drop-off in offensive production throughout the 2024-25 season, league sources tell King that Holiday remains a sought-after piece. He turns 35 next month and is still owed $104.4 million through 2028. That's a painful number on a balance sheet, especially for a team now building around a superstar whose Achilles may never be the same. Kristaps Porzingis? Also on borrowed time. His health has always been a gamble, and with his deal winding down, Boston may look to extract value before his next injury, not after. Still, King cautions that the Celtics aren't likely to simply dump him in a salary clearing maneuver. This front office will squeeze value out of every asset, and they have to. But perhaps the most concerning revelation isn't about money, it's about mileage. Tatum's Achilles rupture wasn't just bad luck, it may have been predictable. King reveals that within the Celtics organization itself, Tatum's overwhelming workload was a recurring point of contention. Since being drafted in 2017, no NBA player has logged more minutes. And that's before adding his USA basketball commitments in 2021 and 2024. While other stars took off seasons to rest and preserve longevity, Tatum kept grinding. He admitted back in March that team doctors and coaches often begged him to sit, but he refused. That Iron Man mentality, it may have finally broken him. And now, the ripple effects are starting. According to Chris Mannix and Rachel Nichols of Sports Illustrated, there's a real chance this roster gets significantly dismantled over the summer, while Jaylen Brown isn't expected to be traded. Yet Mannix believes at least 2 of Boston's top 7 rotation players could be out the door. Think of this less like a retooling and more like a strategic detour, or as Mannix puts it, a sabbatical year. NBC Sports' Chris Forsberg, usually a Celtics optimist, now speaks with unusual caution. He expects next year's roster to include Tatum, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, Baylor Shireman, and Jordan Walsh, a mix of core vets and young prospects. Beyond that, even Jaylen Brown's future is murky, despite being just 1 year into his 5-year supermax. Sam Hauser, Boston's elite floor spacer, may be expendable if the front office can't find cost-saving measures elsewhere. The harsh reality is this: the Celtics' title window isn't just under threat, it's on a timer. Bobby Marks of ESPN outlines the brutal truth. The NBA's second apron restrictions don't just penalize big spenders, they punish them. No mid-level exceptions, no aggregating salaries in trades, no buyout market signings, and perhaps worst of all, no flexibility to pivot. That's the trap Boston now finds itself in. 1 year removed from a title, the Celtics are being crushed by the weight of their own success. And the bill is coming due.